Yo, what's up? Welcome to Coding with Unc. I'm Uncle Will, here to help you make iPhone apps, websites, Android apps, whatever you're trying to do to get your business off the ground. You feel like you got to pay somebody thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars to do something. I'm going to teach you how to do it for yourself. All right. So our first project, we're going to start real small. We're just going to make a list. We're going to make a list where we can add and delete stuff. And then from there, we're going to grow it to where it's an emoji app where you can create your own emojis. It'll be a list of all your different emojis, and you can share them to your friends and family, or post it on social media, whatever you want to do, however you want to do it. Your IG, maybe, I don't know. So we're going to keep it moving for right now. Let's start off with what you need. So what you need for this project, you can go to my GitHub. I'm going to put it right down here. Okay, my GitHub account. I put the website, so if you've never heard of GitHub, don't worry about it. You'll be able to download the project and start from where I'm starting from, okay? What else you'll need a Mac or a Mac desktop. You'll also need Xcode downloaded to your computer, okay? And you do have a Mac, check out the App Store, look up Xcode, and you'll be able to see whatever the new version is. It's like 9.1 or something like that. It don't really matter, just grab the newest version that you can. Next, let's talk about what we're gonna learn. We're gonna learn three main concepts. We'll also touch on some other things, but the three main things that we're gonna learn about are the UI table view functions, okay? So it's basically gonna be the functions that come along with tables and lists on an iPhone app. So I think of your settings screen, think of your notification screen, think of Facebook, all the different news feeds. The next thing we're going to talk about is hooking up what's called an IB outlet. Okay, so really what it is basically you're connecting buttons and things on your screen to what you want it to do. All right, that's the simple way to put it. And then finally, we're going to talk about showing you those little pop-ups. It's called a UI alert view control. Those are those little pop-ups, like when you get an alert, like, oh, I need to update my software, or I need to update this, or are you sure you want to allow notifications, or are you sure you want to let this app know your location, stuff like that. Those are the pop-ups. I'm going to teach you how to make those. So it's all going to come together, I promise you. So let's get it started. All right, so go ahead and pause it. If you need to go ahead and download the project from GitHub, go ahead and check that link out. It's also in the description below. You can go ahead and follow along. We're gonna open our TableViewController.swift. You're gonna scroll down and take a look at your table view functions. You got the first one, which is number of sections in table view. If we look at the descriptions, it says ask the data source to return the number of sections in a table view. Okay, that's a long-winded way of saying how many sections do you want in your list. All right, we just want one, so you go ahead and put one in there now. I'm gonna show you the code a little bit later, where you can just pause it and then catch up with your project. But yeah, that's just basically saying how many sections do you want in your list. All right. In some cases, you'll need more than one section, just like with a settings or something like that, like you have in your iPhone already. But like I said, for right now, we're gonna leave it at one. Okay, we're gonna change that to one in just a second. The next function is gonna be table view number of rows in section. It says this tells the data source to return the number of rows in a given section. Okay, so that's gonna be how many rows, like how many items are you gonna have in your list. Okay, so I'm gonna update the code, and you can pause the video here so you can go ahead and catch up. Okay, all right, so we got our last function, which is our table view self-arrow index path. There's no description, but don't let that worry you. It's basically just the configuration of the cell. So in layman's terms, is what are we gonna put in the cell? Are we gonna make it look like a Facebook post? Are we gonna make it look like a notification? No, for right now, we're just gonna put some words in there from our list the my emoji names list. Okay, I made a list at the beginning. It should be at the very top of your project. You can put your own emoji names in there if you want, or your favorite athletes, or whatever you want. Okay, so I'm gonna update the code. You can take a look at it, copy it down, follow along in your project, and then we're gonna run the code and test it out so you can see what it looks like. Okay. All right, you can go ahead and pause the video here, and when you caught up, go ahead and hit play again. I'll be right here waiting for you. All right, let's take a look at the simulator. Let's take a look at the project and see how it really looks. All right, so this is our project. This is how it's really gonna look on an iPhone once we upload it. Okay, so right now you got your title, my emoji names, and you have your 3 items: drum, bears, bulls. My nephew's a Chicago fan, so you know he got a Chicago teams and everything in there, and he's a drummer too. So you know that's why the list is what it is in the project. But you can make your own list, put your favorite things in there, and we're gonna customize that a little bit later. All right, so in just a second we're gonna work on adding IB outlets, which is basically we're gonna add a little plus button in there, and then we're gonna add items to the list. All right, let's go. So we're back on the main storyboard. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go grab a button. It's called a bar button item. We're gonna click and drag that into our root view controller. Then we're going to change the system item attribute. We're gonna change that to add, so it gives us a plus button. Now we're gonna go to our assistant editor, and that's gonna show us how our code is linked up to our button. And we're gonna drag the plus button over to the code and create a connection. And the type of connection is gonna be an action, okay? We're gonna name it add button touched. And then click connect. And we're just gonna test something out right here. We're gonna just type print test just to make sure that we're actually triggering an action when the plus button is clicked. So let's test it out on the simulator now. So you notice when we click plus, test pops up at the bottom there. So we know it's working, see? All right, now on to the next thing. Now we want an alert view. Click the plus button. We want the pop-up to show up so we can input some text. Alright, so I'm going to update the code so you can pause the video here to copy the code into your project. So let's go over a couple of things in the code. So the very first thing we're going to look at is where we add an alert box. We're going to let alert equal UI alert controller. It's going to be a new UI alert controller object. Okay, that's going to be the view that we put onto the screen, the pop-up that you're used to seeing. The next part, we're going to create a text input field where the user can input their text. So basically somewhere where a user can type their text in for their new emoji name. So we're going to go alert.add text field, and what you see there is what's called a closure. A closure is basically a function. It's telling the function what to do once it's finished with its process. So after I add a text field to the alert view controller, I want you to do this. Okay, and what we're doing is we're just putting a placeholder in the text field saying, you know, this is my emoji. Okay, next, we're going to add the user input into the list, the current list that we have already. So how we're doing that is first, we're going to grab the value of that text field that they typed in. And if that value is there, we're just going to print it out for now. We're not going to put it into the list. We're going to just print it out to make sure that we are on the right track. Okay, so we're going to go let add action, and we're going to create a new UI alert action. This is going to be another type of object. Okay, so it's an alert action that its title is add, and once you finish making it, this is the same closure kind of deal that we saw back with the add text field. Once we finish making it, then we're going to take the text that's in the first text field and print it out. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so once we print it out, then we'll be able to see what the user typed. Okay, and then below the last two parts where we're adding the action, that's just basically saying, okay, alert, that's the UI alert controller, and we're going to add an action, and the action that we're going to add is the one that we just created. Okay, and then after we create the action, we're going to add the action onto the alert, and then we're going to present the entire alert view. So that's going to be the alert with the text field and the action, which is the button to add. Okay, and right now it's just going to print out whatever the user types. Okay, let's test it out. Okay, so now we have our simulator up. Now let's pull up our console so we can see what gets printed out. So now we have the emoji names, the list up, and we're gonna open up our console so we can see what actually prints out. And as you can see, we hit our plus button. We have our alert view, it says name your new emoji sticker. So we're gonna just type in something here. Basketball, I guess that'll be a new emoji. We hit add, and if you look at the very bottom of the console, you see basketball pops up there. Great. Okay, let's move on. Okay, now, so if you check out the TableViewController.swift file, you'll notice we have some updates. On line 56, we have function add item that takes in a string, and we're gonna insert the string into the my emoji names array at index 0. That's gonna put it at the very front of the line, at the very front of the array. Then we're gonna insert the new rows into the table views on the top. So we're creating an index path variable, and then we're going to insert into our table view at the index path that we created, and then the dot left, that's just the animation. That's just the animation that we're going to use in order to put it into the table view. Okay, and then we're calling that function on line 45. We're calling that function, and that's when the add button is pressed. That's when we're going to call that function. So let's go ahead and test that out and see how that works. Okay, so we're hitting the plus button. We'll type in Hawks, hit add, and you see it slides in at the top right on the left hand side with a nice little smooth animation. Okay, so now all we have left to do is add a delete function, and we're done. All right, so we're back at the TableViewController.swift file, and we're going to scroll down past the self row at index path, and underneath that you'll see your table view editing style for row at index path function. Okay, we're going to uncomment that. It's line, it should be like 99, line 99 or 100. So that should be at line 99 or 100. What we're going to do is uncomment the function, and then we're going to add one line on line 103. It's going to be my emoji names dot remove at index path dot row. So basically what we're doing is we're taking the emoji names array and we're removing whatever item is at the index path dot row that they want to delete at. So basically what this function is doing is saying, okay, the user wants to delete something, if it's the delete style, that means they press the delete button. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove that item out of the array, and then we're gonna delete that row out of the list view or out of the table view. Okay. All right. So let's check it out. All right. So you'll notice now if we swipe the item over to the left like we would in any other iOS app or any other iPhone app, we get a delete button. And if we hit that delete button, it animates with a fade kind of animation, and it's deleted from our list. Well, congratulations on making your new app. We learned how to add new items using an alert view, just like that, and how to delete items and to show a list view and the table view. Okay, so next time, our next video was gonna cover how do we add images to our list. So how do we grab an image from our photo gallery, or how do we take a picture and then take that picture and put it with our item to make it kind of like more of a, almost like a Facebook news feed kind of thing. So we're gonna do that next, okay? And then after that, we'll work on cropping the image so that we can actually make it an emoji, okay? So I really appreciate y'all. Stay tuned for the next edition of Coding with Let me know anything that you want to create, and I'll make another video for it, okay? I'll leave it in the comments below. All right, thanks for watching the video. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.